Netanyahu to meet. Trump in Florida for crucial Gaza talks. A high-stakes political encounter. The prospect of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meeting former U.S. President Donald Trump in Florida has drawn intense global attention, not merely because of the personalities involved, but because of the timing, symbolism, and potential consequences for the ongoing Gaza crisis. At a moment when the Middle East is once again at the center of global geopolitical tension, any dialogue between two figures who once reshaped U.S.-Israel relations carries profound implications. This anticipated meeting, reportedly framed as an informal yet strategic discussion, comes amid one of the most devastating periods in Gaza's modern history. Civilian suffering, diplomatic deadlock, and escalating regional instability have created a political environment in which every gesture, every meeting, and every statement is carefully scrutinized by allies and critics alike. The political weight of Florida. Florida is not a neutral setting. It is Trump's political stronghold, a space where he continues to exert influence over Republican politics and foreign policy discourse. A meeting there is not simply logistical convenience, it is symbolic. It signals continuity between Trump's previous Middle East policies and Netanyahu's current strategic calculations. During Trump's presidency, U.S.-Israel relations reached unprecedented levels of alignment. From the recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital to the Abraham Accords, Trump fundamentally altered Washington's posture toward Israel and the broader region. Netanyahu, as one of Trump's closest international allies, benefited politically and strategically from this alignment. Revisiting that relationship now, in the shadow of Gaza's humanitarian catastrophe, suggests an attempt to reassert a familiar diplomatic framework, one that prioritizes security narratives and bilateral strength over multilateral consensus. Gaza at the center of the talks. At the heart of the discussions lies Gaza, a territory long trapped between political stalemate, economic blockade, and recurring cycles of violence. The latest conflict has intensified international concern, with mounting civilian casualties and growing calls for ceasefires, humanitarian access, and political solutions. For Netanyahu, Gaza represents both a security challenge and a domestic political test. His leadership has been under pressure from multiple fronts: military demands for decisive action, public anxiety over security, international criticism, and internal political instability. Engaging Trump offers a channel to reinforce a hardline security narrative while potentially shaping future U.S. policy positions should Trump return to power. Trump, meanwhile, has positioned himself as a leader capable of ending wars through strength rather than diplomacy alone. Discussing Gaza allows him to re-enter the global stage as a statesman, reinforcing his image among supporters who favor assertive foreign policy and unwavering support for Israel. A meeting beyond official diplomacy. What makes this encounter particularly significant is its unofficial nature. This is not a White House summit, nor a United Nations session. It exists in a political gray zone, where influence is exercised through personal relationships, rather than formal mandates. Such meetings often shape narratives long before policies are enacted. They allow leaders to test ideas, align messaging, and prepare strategies without public accountability. In the context of Gaza, this raises concerns among humanitarian organizations and International observers who fear that decisions affecting millions may be discussed without Palestinian representation or multilateral oversight. Regional and global reactions. Across the Middle East, reactions to the potential meeting are mixed. Some regional actors view it as a continuation of policies that have marginalized Palestinian aspirations. Others see it as a pragmatic engagement between power brokers who can influence outcomes more effectively than stalled international forums. European leaders, already struggling to balance support for Israel with adherence to international humanitarian law, are watching closely any indication that future U.S. policy might revert to Trump-era positions complicates diplomatic efforts aimed at de-escalation and reconstruction. For Palestinians, the meeting is largely perceived with skepticism. Trump's previous policies were widely criticized for sidelining Palestinian voices, and Netanyahu's government is seen as resistant to meaningful concessions. The fear is that Gaza's humanitarian reality may once again be overshadowed by geopolitical maneuvering, domestic politics on both sides. Domestically, the meeting serves political purposes for both leaders. Netanyahu faces ongoing legal challenges and political fragmentation at home, demonstrating strong international alliances, especially with influential American figures, reinforces his image as an indispensable leader during crisis. Trump, on the other hand, continues to frame foreign policy as a personal achievement rather than institutional continuity. Meeting Netanyahu allows him to contrast his approach with that of the current U.S. administration, appealing to voters who view his presidency as a period of global stability through strength. The broader question, can this change Gaza's reality? The most critical question remains whether such a meeting can meaningfully alter the situation on the ground in Gaza. History suggests that high-level political discussions often prioritize security and power dynamics over humanitarian outcomes. Without inclusive dialogue and international cooperation, the risk is that Gaza remains trapped in a cycle of destruction and reconstruction, without long-term resolution.